Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Hello, welcome back to the Monday Movie Show, to our DVD and Blu-ray section. Coming up after the UK DVD and Blu-ray Top 10, we have reviews of the following films.
Well, there's only 4 films out this week because there's a lot of TV DVD ones and we don't review them. We have Men in Black 3, so the return of Will Smith as Agent J. He's not Agent J.
Will Smith is
Agent
J.
I've just looked at my... Yeah, I've just looked at my notes. He's Agent J. We then have...
It's like who's on first, what's on second again?
Yeah, is it a quirky romantic drama comedy? It is quirky, isn't it? Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, a very quirky kind of film.
Yes.
It's a strange one with Steve Carell in it and Keira Knightley. And then extremely violent and twisted film, Killer Joe. Musical drama, no comedy in it whatsoever. Joyful Noise. And this week's DVD alternative is Final Fantasy. Now, I don't know what to add the 7 to it. It's Final Fantasy Advent Children.
But before all that, let's go straight into the UK and DVD Top 10. DVD and Blu-ray Top 10.
Yep, at number 10, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Which is a unfortunate waste of most of the material in it. The writing is not up to scratch. Chris Hemsworth's vocal acting is not up to scratch, and Kristen Stewart is really not. Her acting is not up to scratch in it. Charlize Theron is brilliant in it. The look of the film is great. The Seven Dwarfs are non-existent for most of the film, and when they are existent, you kind of wish they weren't because they're boring. Really, just a disappointment.
Yeah. I was speaking to a person who I know who's heavily Scottish. He is actually from Scotland, and even he thought Chris Hemsworth's accent was a Scottish accent, and he said it was atrociously bad. But when I told him that they are going to make a movie that's centered around The Woodsman, 2 hours of Chris Hemsworth doing that accent,
it's not gonna be a good film, is it?
Yep. At number 9, Taken.
Still hanging around in the top 10 because you can get it from most places for I think about £3 now on DVD, which is a good deal because it's a great film. Instead of going to spend £10 at the cinema on Taken 2, which is awful, and I don't care if Liam Neeson will find me and will kill me because of the fact that Liam, you should have known better. Taken 2's awful. Spend £3 on Taken and enjoy the night in and enjoy it a lot better.
Yeah, buy 2 copies, then you'll have Taken 2, and then give one to a friend. I'm sorry I had to make that joke.
And you had a go at me for jokes in the first half. God.
Yeah, but at least I only thought it up on the spot there, so it was off the top of my head. At number 8, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
A movie which we have different views of. Stuart really disliked it. I kind of thought it was okay, but not brilliant. It's Tim. Tell me his name again. I keep getting it wrong.
Timur Bekmambetov.
Yes. The man who did Wanted essentially has come back and done it again. This is really just Wanted, but with Abraham Lincoln as the main character, set in the 19th century. Oh God, I don't know. With vampires. That's it. That's all that's different. It's using slow motion. It's using superhuman feats. There's a character who finds out everything is not as it appears, and it's fine, but just don't expect anything more than that because you won't get it.
No, you won't even get fine. At number 7, Avengers Assemble.
Have we really got anything more we can say about this? One of the best comic book films of the year. Highly enjoyable. If you've been following the other films, you'll love it even more. If you haven't, see this and then go back and watch Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Captain America because you can get the whole lot, I think, on Blu-ray for about £40 in the box set, can't you?
They released the box set for $35, if I remember correctly. So I'm guessing if you look at places like Zavvi, who do sort of like a special Monday or Play.com, You might be able to get it for much cheaper than that, but it's definitely worth it if you can get the whole box set.
Yeah, I mean, the whole lot together will be about 11, 12 hours of films, and they are really... There's not one of them that's poor.
Iron Man 2.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's poor.
No,
Number 6, Dark Shadows.
It's got the suitcase suit, come on. Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows, talking of poor... a rehash of some 60s show which, as far as I know, didn't even make it over here. It lasted for about 10 episodes, if that, which is kind of like a Monsters thing. And it's got Johnny Depp, who is playing Barnabas Collins, a man who was turned into a vampire by a witch and then hundreds of years later is dug up and really should have been left buried.
Yeah, it's really, really awful. It definitely is a 60s one, but I think it lasted longer than 10 episodes. I thought it lasted 1,225 episodes.
You are joking.
Actually, no, sorry. There are 2,231 episodes of it.
No, that can't be right.
It went from June the 27th, 1966 to April the 2nd, 1971.
What?
That's according to Wikipedia. Yeah,
that's not the best source to go to for information. I mean, it's if you are going to see it, just bearing before we go on to the next one, it's rated 12. It's not for 12-year-olds. It's for 15-year-olds. It's far underrated for mature themes and content. It really is. So if you've got kids who you're thinking of renting it, maybe for them to see, I would see it first before you let them see it to decide.
Yeah, at number 5, Prometheus.
Which is a really brilliant science fiction film. Forget the naysayers because they're all expecting it to be an alien film because it's Ridley Scott returning to the alien universe. I'm not going to... I mean, that's not really a spoiler. It's set in the alien universe. It's not an alien movie, but it is a really good a really good science fiction film.
Yeah, it's much better on its second viewing than its first one.
And the 3D is decent in it too.
And the annoying... I nearly said the B word there, not the BAS word, the BLOO, and I'm not sure if we can say that, so I corrected myself. The annoying thing is, you can only get the 3.5-hour documentary.
Yeah, if 3 hours, 3:40 or something like that, yeah. If
you buy the 3D Blu-ray one, which is absolutely stupid. It's just stupid, that. Number 4, Mrs. Brown's Boys Series 2.
You're still fuming over that, aren't you?
Yeah, because I wanted to watch it. I know I've still got the documentary to see about Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's 4-hour documentary, sorry. I really actually wanted to watch the documentary on Prometheus, and the only thing that you get on the Blu-ray is the deleted scenes, a couple of tiny little documentaries, and that stupid app, which actually works quite well.
As for Mrs. Brown's Boys, it's a TV series. I don't like it. I don't watch it, so I've got nothing to say about it other than move on.
Even the advert for it actually annoys me. At number 3, and you went with for Red Tails.
Well, I mean, I mentioned because it's George Lucas produced, as we had in the news section. I'm talking very slowly because even just remembering this film is kind of putting me to sleep. It's boring. It's awful characters. The action sequences for the planes flying and shooting isn't even exciting. I think it was too long as well because it is about 2 hours or 1 hour and 50 or something, and it's just horrible. I can't believe it's gone in at number 3, but I'm so glad it didn't go in at number 1.
The acting is some of the worst I've seen this year for a film that's released at the cinema, and that includes Jack and Jill. The acting, honestly, is horrible in this film.
Yeah, even
Jack and Jill is worse.
The parrot in Jack and Jill is better than that.
Yeah. At number 2, Shrek Thrilling Tales.
A Tesco exclusive. Tesco, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. Another one of these Halloween special DVDs you can get for £5, which has got a exclusive 25-minute animation on it. Buy it for your kids if you absolutely have to, but, I mean, really? Halloween's over now. Forget it.
Yeah, just forget about it. And at number 1, a new entry for the London 2012 Olympic Games.
Which I'm genuinely surprised at. I didn't think there'd be that much appeal for it. I mean, it's the Olympic Games, but you know,
on 5 discs with the opening and closing ceremony on it in its entirety, 5 Blu-rays. It's around about £20, and I'm just we shouldn't review it because it's not films, but it's just strange. The annoying thing to come out of this, though, is the fact that the Paralympic ones were just shoved onto DVD, on a 2-disc DVD, and it hasn't even made the top 40, the Paralympic Games. So that's the annoying part.
I'm just surprised that it got in there. I mean, I don't have anything against it. It's not for me. I didn't really enjoy the Olympics. I didn't watch any of the Olympics. I was just, not interested.
I did, but I don't want to watch a 3-hour opening ceremony and a 2.5, 3-hour closing ceremony with really crappy music again. So...
Okay, just before we take a break, we're going to mention our competition this evening. Being that it is November the 5th, the competition is to win... we're going to play a clip. What you need to do is tell us what film it's from, and if you're right, you'll be entered in to win that film on DVD. The answers need to be sent by Twitter to @Monday Movie Show or to us at AHD Video or @Cryptic Tadpole. You need to tag it MMS for Monday Movie Show. And here's the clip.
Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
And just to make you aware, a couple of rules for entry. It is a UK DVD, so it's only open to UK entrants. And you must be 15 years old and over, because the movie is rated 15, so that might give you a little bit of a clue there. And for any further terms and conditions, they are available on mondaymovieshow.co.uk. So now we're going to take a proper little break, after which we'll get straight into our DVD and Blu-ray reviews of the night.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter @thegamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly. Okay, I will repeat the entries rules for the competition because it's been asked in the chat. Mr. Moves, who is deaf, I presume, or something, not listening. Bad Mr. Moves, pay attention. You need to tweet us the title of the movie. Either @Monday Movie Show is the easiest one to do, or @AHDVD or @Cryptic Tadpole. Tag it, #MMS. Tell us what the movie is, and the winner will be announced on next Monday's show. So, let's move on to our first review of the evening.
Yeah, Men in Black 3. So, as you can tell, it's the 5th one in the series. No, actually, it's the 3rd one in the series. It's directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. I'm guessing he did the other two.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's directed the other two, and so this is, well, let's see what it's like. It's starring Will Smith, as usual, as Agent G. The opening of the film sees Boris the Animal, who was captured by Agent K, played by Tommy Lee Jones, escaping from...
Boris.
Okay, that joke wasn't even funny in the film anyway. So he's escaped, Boris the Animal, or it's just Boris, escaping from this maximum security prison on the moon, where he was put there by Agent K, played by Tommy Lee Jones. He manages to escape in a convoluted kind of escape with the help of Nicole Scherzinger in a really tight outfit showing ample bosom. Let's just say that. Slightly distracting for a PG. Very slightly distracting. And so Boris the Animal has managed to escape there, and so they get wind of the fact that he's managed to escape. His whole intent is to go back in time, as a matter of fact, to the July 15th, 1969, to eradicate Agent K from existence, to stop from K arresting him and putting him in this maximum security prison. Here's a clip.
You need to turn electricity down on that damn thing. Can't taste my frickin' tongue, Kay.
How do you know my name?
Terribly sorry. X is frightfully upset about the whole Coney Island incident.
Thanks for the heads up.
Oh, man, this coffee tastes like dirt.
What do you expect? It was
Just
ground
around this morning. Oh? No, I call ladies O. To me, O is feminine, K is masculine. You know, I see a couple. I'm like, okay.
So what's happened is the fact that after a night of, let's just say Jay, he's phoned up Keir and sort of like ignored and put down the phone. Jake comes into work, discovers that Kier's not there anymore. He's not in existence, so he has to go back in time to try and stop Boris the animal from killing Kier. And that's the entirety of the plot, to be honest. The plot is very simple. The film itself is very simple. It's not very entertaining, though. That's the problem with the movie. It tries to sort of like... The second film in the series is rubbish. Let's just put it out, to be honest. It tries to sort of like bring back some... I can't think of the word. I can't structure together a sentence together that sounds correct. Tries to bring back a bit of gravitas back from the second one because it was so bad. Because the first film in the series was really good. It was a fun film. And the second film sort of like killed that. This one, it doesn't do that. It's just... It feels like another one of those cash cow films that it was just released because they had the license. I'm guessing the license was up soon or whatever in any way, shape or form. And they had to create a film. And they just did this one. The best thing about it is Josh Brolin as young Agent Kier, which you heard in that clip. He's just brilliant as a younger version of Tommy Lee Jones. Slightly younger version of Tommy Lee Jones, though, but he is brilliant, and he's by far the best of that. Will Smith is just Will Smith. He's not even Agent J anymore. He's Will Smith. Boris the Animal, played by Jermaine Clement, who was Flight of the Conchords, isn't it? What he did.
I think so. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But
yeah, he also did some of the music for the Muppets, if I remember correctly, and he released, if I can remember correctly, he released a song for Australia's version of Children in Need, and he's also writing the music for the second Muppets film. I think. So, yeah, he plays Boris the Animal, but here it's been called The Animal. He mentions it constantly through the film that he is just Boris. He's not very good at all. And then you've got Agent O, played by Emma Thompson in the world when Kier is played by Tommy Lee Jones. And it's just... Children might enjoy it for the running time that it's on for, but they'll only slightly enjoy it. It's a very safe paint-by-numbers film. It's a bit meh, to put it nicely.
I just want to chime in and say that it's not that I really enjoyed it. I liked it and I had fun with it. I think the problem comes with the whole thing of and this is probably part of the issue with the second one too, is that we've seen that world now. In the first film, the whole thing, half of the gag is that, all of a sudden, there's aliens everywhere. There's a dog that can talk. There's these little creatures that are like worms that are, disgusting creatures, disgusting personalities, and they just want to walk around and smoke cigarettes and stuff. And it's all the shock element of the ideas behind it all. Whereas in the second one, we know that well, we're not really shocked by anything. In this one, that novelty is completely worn off. I think that is the problem that there is with the film. But I did enjoy it. I like Josh Brolin in it more than I think I would have liked to see Tommy Lee Jones for the whole film. Because Tommy Lee Jones really is just looking tired and bored of the film. And he's only in it for a total of maybe 5 minutes. 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I would say slightly longer than that, about 15 minutes.
But I didn't think it's a bad film. I just thought it was okay. But I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah, the other thing that I found was a bit stupid is just before Agent J jumps through this time portal to get back to 1969... Boris the Animal has sort of like managed to invade Earth because obviously Kier has disappeared, and then that's the last you see of that little plot strand where Boris the Animal has managed to invade Earth back in an ordinary time is just completely forgotten. Even at the end of the film when it wraps up and there's an interesting sort of twist at the end, it never mentions the invasion that happened in the proper time. So it was a wasted strand of a storyline, that.
Okay, I'm going to go on to Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which is probably the good entry for the longest title ever of a film. Directed by Lorraine Scafaria, who also had a hand in screenplay. It stars Steve Carell as Dodge, a guy who at the start of the movie is seen sitting in the car listening to the radio with his wife. Here's a clip.
Okay, what we're getting now is, yes, they're saying it was, in fact, a fire that erupted inside the external tank of the ship exactly 98 seconds after it entered the asteroid field. No one is sure what caused the fire, which led to the massive explosion, killing all 12 crew members and scientists aboard the Space Shuttle Deliverance, taking with them our last and only hope. Once again, if you are just tuning in, the CSA Space Shuttle Deliverance has been destroyed. The final mission to save mankind has failed. The 70-mile-wide asteroid, known commonly as Matilda, is set to collide with Earth in exactly 3 weeks' time, and we'll be bringing you up-to-the-minute coverage of our countdown to the end of days, along with all your classic rock favorites. This is Q107.2.
I think we missed the exit.
So what you hear at the end of that clip is that his wife then suddenly sort of breaks down into tears and jumps out of the car quickly and runs off, never to be seen again. He then goes home, sort of sits there depressed, the whole thing of the world is going to end and such. When he's then seeing sort of the chaos of, you know, society crumbling around outside, riots and things like that, he's just sitting there in his apartment when knocking at his window is Keira Knightley, plays Penny. Who is then sort of comes into his flat and chatting with him and talking with him, and the whole thing of the two of them then discussing their lives and things that did or didn't work for them and things that they wish they'd done and such. One of the things that Penny wishes that she had done is been able to get back home to see her family back in the UK, in England. And Dodge then admits that he may know someone who will be able to help her do that. So the two then go on a road trip to try and get to this person. And along the way, they find that the two of them start to actually begin to weirdly fall in love with each other. Now, the thing about it is that it is a quirky kind of romantic drama with a sci-fi element of this whole thing of the world and all sort of being threatened. And it's a really weird film, but it's oddly enjoyable. It's really hard to try and say. I mean, it's not brilliant. I'm not a fan of Steve Carell, but I kind of like him in this film because of the character he plays, who's just he is an insurance salesman at the start of the film, and he's just a boring office guy who's no idea. And then as he meets her and goes on this road trip, he starts to then unwind and become a different person, and she's getting this out of him, and as well as she's being the young sort of wild, crazy one doing all these stupid things and going, you know, because it's the end of the world, why not? And so it's a really bizarre thing that just it makes it kind of a nice, quirky and enjoyable film. There is a problem where now the film runs for an hour and 40 minutes. There's a problem where it gets to a certain point, I'm not sure exactly when, but I think it's about an hour and 20, hour and a half, where literally I was watching it, and both times I've seen it now, it got to that point and I thought, oh, that's perfect, that's the end of the movie. And then it carries on for another 10 minutes unnecessarily when it shouldn't have. It's unfortunate that it gets to that point, because if it had been at that point, stopped, ended, would have been a brilliant, brilliant film. It's just that last bit drags it down a bit to just be average and okay, but still enjoyable, quirky. And if you do like your subtle comedy, as you heard in that clip, there is a little bit which is just that kind of little subtle thing of the radio guy going, oh yeah, it's the end of the world, but we're going to play all your favourite music as it comes up, you know, that kind of whole thing. So if you do enjoy that kind of humour and you like a good drama and a good romance thing you can watch with your other half, check this out.
Right, next film. Now this one I don't think you'll want to watch with your other half at all. Killer Joe, directed by William Friedkin, who you would definitely know from The Exorcist, and also did a small film which Mark Kermode deems to be one of his favourites, called Bug, which he thinks that everybody hates apart from himself, and he's correct because it's an awful, awful film. This centres around Chris, who's played by Emil Hirsch, and he's He's a sort of like a drug addict, the typical kind of Texan character. He's in a hell of a lot of debt, an extreme amount of debt. So he comes up with this idea to team up with his father, Ansel, played by Thomas Hayden Church, for them to off his mother for this insurance that she's got. So he can pay off his debt that he owes to these guys, and he can be free from the debt that he's in. He decides to do this by getting the help from Joe, or Killer Joe, played by the brilliant Matthew McConaughey in this film, who's he is a police officer, a normal police officer, but for a specific fee, in this case it's $25,000, he will off the person who you ask him to. He will kill the person as long as you don't ask questions, and as long as you pay the money up front and follow his exact rules, then he'll be able to do that. However, Chris can't do this, so as a sort of like insurance bond, Joe decides to take Chris's sister, Dottie, played by Juno Temple, as sort of like insurance just in case that he can't pay up this the $25,000 that he needs to kill Chris's mother. Here's a clip.
What? What are you? I mean, what do you do?
I'm a detective.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like Magnum PI?
No, he's a private detective. I'm in the Dallas Police Department.
He ain't real either.
No. I'm real.
I read it's nothing like them shows with car chases and all.
A lot of paperwork.
I read some policemen go their whole lives without shooting their guns.
Probably true.
You ever drawn your gun?
Oh, sure.
You ever shot anybody?
Yes.
Also embroiled in this menagerie of whatever is actually happening is the new wife of Ansel, Charlotte. Is it Charlotte? I think it's Charlotte, actually.
I think it's Charlotte.
Played by Gina Gershon, who's she's playing a usual kind of thing that she played in films like Bound. Now, where the film itself is not not safe for. Well, how can I actually put this? It's a really harsh movie.
It was actually not released in a lot of cinemas in America, and this is how harsh it is. American audiences were not given the full version of it because of the fact of the American ratings wouldn't rate the film, so it could be released. It had to be released as the highest rating, which is above a normal film, like worse than 18.
Is that an NC-17?
NC-17, yeah. Well, it would normally be R. So that gives you an idea. It was released uncut here, believe it or not. But it's that kind of film that in America, where they'll let you show just about anything, they wouldn't let it go. So that gives you an idea.
That is true, considering that the last 20 minutes of the film is, you might have read about an extreme scene in the movie. Well, the extreme scene in the movie lasts for about 20 minutes. It builds up to what happens. And then when you start watching it, the scene itself, the main part which you might have read, which you think is shocking, is not as shocking as you might think it is. It's what happens just slightly before the scene starts. And the way the movie builds up the last 20 minutes, it's some of the most intense cinema I've seen this year. You're not prepared, considering that just before the last 20 minutes of the film, you're thinking, this is starting to become a tiny bit boring. But then this happens, and it smacks you in the face like what happens in the scene. And it's a really tough thing to watch. And Gina Gershon, she deserves an Oscar alone just for what she went through in that scene. And Matthew McConaughey is absolutely fantastic in this movie. He is really brilliant. He has a sort of like, he doesn't have any kind of reaction on his face apart from just a normal straight face during the entirety of the movie. Emile Hirsch is brilliant in the film. Thomas Hayden Church, I would say, probably is the weakest of of the bunch, Juno Temple, who plays Chris's sister, she's fantastic and very innocent. The only thing I have problem with the movie is what William Friedkin does with these movies. He seems to treat women like meat, and that's what women are treated like in this film. They are treated like meat. Considering the first scene that you see Gina Gershon, you actually see Gina Gershon's bottom half. And Juno Temple, you see everything of her as well. Considering the age of the character that she's playing in the movie, it's slightly shocking. So it's a really brilliant film for the acting and the last 20 minutes. It feels a bit... It loses a little bit in the middle, but it's still a well worth watching movie. You definitely need to see it, even just for to watch it once.
It's a really bizarre and almost uncomfortably humorous sequence in the film, and it is this whole thing. It is controversial. It's a controversial scene in particular, but the whole film has a subject of being controversial. I mean, there's the whole subject of the hire for a killer for hire and all that kind of thing. But I just found this to be one of the best films of the year for me. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if I'd say it was the best film of the year. I've still got to go through and tally up all of mine, but I definitely say that it's one to be seen. But just be sure, first of all, that you have a strong stomach and that you haven't been eating anything like a particular brand of takeaway chicken, any that kind of a thing like that.
That's giving something away too much.
No, it's
even
not.
though there's a bit of it on the poster. Well, depending on what poster you look at.
Just to warn anyone who is...
As a matter of fact, the poster and the DVD cover give away too much. Even though it looks a tiny bit obscure if you look at it, it gives away too much.
It's... I don't know. I guess we'll see what people think of it. I'm going to move on into Joyful Noise, which is a kind of musical
different
drama.
Film.
Yes, completely different film. It's only rated
12
PG, or is it 12? I'm not sure.
It was 12.
No, it's PG. It's rated PG. It is written and directed by Todd Graff. It's a story about a group of singers in a choir at a church, which are as the movie starts, they're singing and being led by their choir leader, who is played by Chris Christopherson, who unfortunately, as the movie starts, has a heart attack and ultimately dies. He's then replaced by the church's leader, who then says that for the lead singer Vi, played by Queen Latifah, to take over the role, much to the sort of disagreement of Gigi, a character who is the wife of Chris Christopherson's character, who's played by Dolly Parton. Here's a clip.
Well, don't you look as happy as a puppy wagging two tails?
I did not ask to be made choir director.
Please, Vi, I have known you for a minute.
The council chose me over you.
When foxes pack the jury box, the chicken's always guilty.
And when folks get too wrapped up in themselves, they make very small packages. Olivia, go check on your brother. Better not be in that car.
What are you doing out here, Walter? It's freezing. And why do you have those sunglasses on? You look like Mary J. Blige.
Light hurts my eyes.
It's dark.
Mary J. Blige had many hits, but I prefer one-hit wonders like Sir Mix-a-Lot.
So, as you heard in that clip, you had the characters talking then, and the characters outside talking, and you heard the kind of example of the dialogue in the film, which is just so god awful. And God is the right word, because it's a film all about God, and these people going on about singing for God and all this, and yeah, God, and yay, God, aha, God, and oh, God, I was sick of it. The whole thing is just terrible boring. It's all about these choirs, singers, and none of them they're all complete typical characters that you get. You've got one of them who she has a sexual relation with someone who unfortunately then dies, And all the way through the film, she's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna forever be known as the person who, you know, is the bad luck charm for anyone who sleeps with her." And you've got the thing of Queen Latifah's character. Now, this is one of the things that really bugs me about it. Queen Latifah has 2 children in the film. She has a daughter, Olivia, played by Keke Palmer, and she has a son named Walter, played by Dexter Darden, who the character of Walter is supposed to be. He's supposed to have Asperger's. And the whole thing of that he is supposed to be really weird and all because of that, while all the time she's fighting with her daughter Olivia, and it's just sickeningly so that, oh yeah, screw you and everything like that, and then 5 minutes later, I'm sorry, let's hug and make up, and then 20 minutes later again, oh screw you. It's like someone who has a split personality disorder or some kind of brain damage that she's worse than the brother, and the brother is actually meant to have an illness. It's just awful. The whole thing of them going on about entering into a choir competition, which is only in America, I think. It's just, I hated it. It's too long as well for a kind of film like this. 2 hours for a film about people singing in a choir. Dolly Parton is not an actress. Dolly Parton is a singer. She proved it in this. She's not an actress. I don't know if she had something to do with the story and everything, probably something to do with the music. I will say this, there's a couple of bits in it where there's singing, and the singing is not bad, but it's not the film that the singing should be in. You should have this should be a drama or it should be a musical. It is not both, because the both does not work. And I'm not a person who likes musicals. If it was a musical, I'd probably not like it still, but I like it more than I do now, because I just hate it. It's awful. It's terrible. It really is.
No, I agree. The singing is not too bad. Queen Latifah and Dolly Parton have actually got really nice voices.
If you can stomach it, if you can stomach the film for the hour and 45 minutes before it, there is a nice, great, and well choreographed, performed musical act at the end of it, musical number of them all on stage, and at the end it's a whole thing of the whole crowd cheering and everyone happy and everything like that, and it's like, that 15 minutes, give me that 15 minutes, I'll watch it, I'll say it's brilliant, but just don't make me watch the hour and 45 minutes before it, because I literally will end up just sitting, drowning in my own drool while I'm sitting here going into a coma.
Right, my DVD alternative this week is Final Fantasy Advent Children. Over the years, Square Enix have been trying their best to get some Final Fantasy films out, and they did that with Final Fantasy Spirit Within, but it bombed at the box office. It absolutely bombed at the box office. And people were saying, why didn't you follow the Final Fantasy VII story? And so they did with Final Fantasy Advent Children, and it's set a couple of years after the events of the video game Final Fantasy VII, and it follows the same character, Cloud, who has to try and stop this disease, this thing taking over. It's, if I remember rightly, it's called Senkon Shogokun, I think, if I remember correctly. It's this thing that infects people in the world of what Final Fantasy VII is set in. So if you've played Final Fantasy VII, you'll know some of the characters that pop up. There's an amazing fight scene with Cloud and Sephiroth. You've got Barret in there as well, and Tifa, and even Ares. If you've played the game, it's not a spoil. Everybody knows that Ares dies in the game. She's in this game in this film, as well as the flower seller inside this huge, massive church. And the animation is done beautifully. I love the animation in the film, and it's frenetic and it's fast and it's got a decent storyline to follow it. It might be confusing if you've not played Final Fantasy VII, but if you have, then this film is highly recommended. It's a really, really good animated film.
Okay, before we do movie of the week, do you want to give? You've got a couple of shout outs to give.
Yeah, shout out to Stuart and Anthony, who do a show called From Page to Screen. I was on Stuart's British, because he does a British side of it, and then there's Anthony, who's from America. They do a show called From Page to Screen on a Sunday, but it goes out on a Monday. And I was on their Stuart's British one last week, and it's a really interesting show. You should download it from iTunes. We discuss the British movie industry and what kind of state it's in. So listen to From Page to Screen. Really good show. I think I'm on it this Sunday, actually. I'll have to sort that out. And also, if you're in the UK and you've got Film 4, from this Friday, they've got a British Connection season where for 10 days they're showing the best of British movies, which include the network premiere of Kill List, which is a fantastic little film. They're also showing Weekend as well, and during the week also they're showing films like Submarine and Attack the Block, which kicks off on Friday. So that's on at 9 o'clock Friday on Film 4.
Don't forget as well our good friends at Following the Nerd, which will be doing their show as usual on Thursday night at 9 o'clock. You can find them at www.followingthenerd.com. We're also part of the Podgods Network, which is podgodsnetwork.com. Feel free to check out our site, mondaymovieshow.co.uk. Details on there of the competition as well, which will be up there shortly, and terms and conditions are found on there as well. You can reach us and follow us at Monday Movie Show, or I'm at AHDVD. Stuart is at Cryptic Tadpole. Don't ask, we both have our names for different reasons.
Mine was random.
You can find us also on Facebook, we're on iTunes, we're now on YouTube, so search around and ye will find us. So, movie of the week.
Killer Joe.
Killer Joe?
Yes.
I agree with that, although if you have got a chance to see it, because it's not showing in a lot of cinemas, but if you've got a chance to see it at the cinema and you can see it through a subtitle film, there's no reason why you shouldn't, then see Rust and Bone. But if you have got the stomach for it, rent Killer Joe, because it's a fantastic movie.
The only reason why I didn't see it go to see Excision, just because of the kind of film that it is. It's out on DVD and Blu-ray next week, so it's much more easier to grab then than it is to see at the cinema.
So is that going to be your movie of the week next week then?
Well, I know what's out next week, and next week is a terrible week for Blu-ray and DVD. Cinema-wise, I'm not certain, but no. But Killer Joe is definitely worth a watch.
Thanks to everyone who's joined us live in the chat, and to everyone else who's listened after the fact on iTunes or YouTube or back on the Spreaker site. We hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we have doing the show. We will be back next Monday as usual at 7:30. Until then, good night.
Bye.